The ships of His Majesty's Navy are called upon to perform the most intricate maneuvers, sometimes at high speed with the precision of a squad of Royal Marines upon the parade ground. The ships are conned from the bridge by the captain or officer of the watch, but upon the helmsman rests the task of actually carrying out their orders and steering the ship. As everyone knows, ships are steered by means of a rudder, but ships did not always have rudders. This galley is the type used by the Romans in their invasion of Britain in the year BC 55. It was steered by means of an oar hung over the right-hand side of the ship. That is how this side came to be known as the steerboard or starboard. The left-hand side, at first called the load board, laid board, or larboard, probably because the loading port through which the stores were taken on board was on this side. But as larboard was liable to be confused with starboard, the left-hand side of a ship is now known as the port side. As time went on, the rudder was hung centrally and controlled by a wooden lever or tiller. Nowadays, except in small boats, the tiller has been replaced by a steering wheel connected to the rudder head. In large ships, the steering wheel operates a special steering engine, which in turn provides the power needed to move the heavy rudder from side to side. The steering wheel is so arranged that when the top of the wheel is turned to starboard, the rudder and consequently the ship's head also turns to starboard. Conversely, when the top of the wheel is turned to port, the rudder and consequently the ship's head turns to port. The great thing to remember is that when going ahead, the ship's head will move in the direction in which you turn the upper part of the wheel, just like driving a car. The maximum steering effect of the rudder is established when it makes an angle of about 35 degrees with the center line of the ship. This position is known as hard a port or hard a starboard and is only used in emergencies. The maximum amount of rudder used normally is 30 degrees. Most of the scenes you will be shown take place in a destroyer's wheelhouse. Let's go over the ground and take a look at it in detail. In the center is the steering wheel, with an indicator which follows the movements of the rudder. Immediately in front of the wheel, where the helmsman can see it easily, is the gyro compass steering repeater. In all modern ships, the circular type of gyro compass repeater has been replaced by the tape repeater, which you see here. And in front of the gyro repeater stands the magnetic compass for use if the gyro breaks down. Now, we know that the wheelhouse is situated under the bridge, and orders therefore are passed down to the helmsman by voice pipe. These orders must be repeated instantly and accurately and put into effect at once. Now, above all, don't forget that the wheel must be moved steadily and never started or brought up suddenly. Remember that the wheel controls the steering engine, and this may be damaged by sudden movements. Now, let us suppose that we are at sea and have been ordered to steer a course due north. That is a course of 360 degrees. Now we're looking at the ship's steering compass. The white line, known as the lubber's line, indicates the direction of the ship's head. It is exactly on the course we have been ordered, 360 degrees. And on that course we would stay if the sea were perfectly calm and there were no currents, if there was no wind, and if the ship's propellers were all turning at the same speed and had the same effect. But the motion of the sea, the wind, and other factors tend to throw the ship off her course to one side or the other, and constant use of the wheel is necessary. In this present case, although the wheel and rudder are amidships, The ship is slowly swinging off her course to starboard. The helmsman must correct this by steering slightly to port. Here she comes, back to 360 degrees. Ah, she's overswung a bit and is now slightly to port of her course. So the helmsman puts the wheel slightly to starboard to correct this. Under the conditions that we see here, our actual course will not be a straight line at all, but a very slight zigzag from side to side of 360 degrees. Nevertheless, the final result, or course made good, will be a straight line in the required direction.
Don't you ever take your eyes off that compass?
Only when I instruct beginners like you. Like to try a hand at the wheel?
Yes, please.
You'll never be able to call yourself a sailor till you've learned how to steer. Permission for ordinary seaman parsons to take the wheel, sir?
Yes, please.
Course 360 degrees. Repeat the order.
What?
Repeat all orders.
Why?
Why? Because you can't see the bridge from down here, can you?
No, it's,
I know where it is, all right, but they can't see you. It's the same thing in a battleship, except that the wheel's in an armoured compartment right down in the bottom of the ship, called the lower steering position.
I know that.
This is a battleship's lower steering position. As you see, it is arranged on much the same lines as the destroyer's wheelhouse.
Now then, as the officer can't see the helmsman, how does he know his orders have been heard correctly if his orders are not repeated?
Oh, I see.
Now, don't jerk it like that now. Ease it over gently. Nice, isn't it? Standing up here, admiring the scenery. Keep your eye on the compass. Now take it gently. You're doing a thing nearly every beginner does when he learns to steer. Your course is 360 degrees, isn't it?
Yes?
But you're allowing the ship to swing more to one side of the course ordered than the other, so that your course made good will be miles off the course ordered. Now then, let's bring her around. You must always watch out for that. It's a very good reason for not taking your eyes off the compass.
Yes, I see that.
Very good. And now that you've got that, here's another tip worth remembering. The whole art of steering is to keep your eyes on the lubber's point, that's that white line there, very closely, and putting the wheel over as soon as the ship starts to swing off her course, not wait until she's actually swung off. Ease your rudder. Now, put on a bit of opposite wheel. That's fine.
How do I know how much rudder to use?
You don't know. That's just a matter of experience. It all depends upon the ship and the weather, but ease her along and you'll soon find out just how much she needs. Always remembering that the secret of success is to use as little as possible.
As little as possible?
You see why, don't you?
Well,
Just think. Doesn't it stand to reason?
Does it? Do you know why as little rudder as possible should be used? Let's look down on the ship from above, and maybe you'll see. She's making good progress, isn't she? Easy and steady. But now look. Too much rudder is being used. See how she loses speed. Also, she's getting a big swing on her, which is hard to stop again.
Well, you won't forget that in a hurry, will you?
no, I'll use so little rudder that... Turned a bit blowy, isn't it?
It is. Blowing quite heavy on the starboard bow.
Is the wind trying to turn us?
It is.
I see, it's blowing on our right bow.
On what?
Starboard bow, sorry. Blowing on our starboard bow, trying to turn us up into the wind to starboard.
So what I've got to do to keep the ship on a straight course is, well, Take a look at your compass. That'll tell you. Our course was due north, wasn't it?
Yes, 360 degrees.
Good. So with the wind trying to force us to starboard?
You've got to steer to port so as to keep on the straight course.
That's it. In this case, to counteract the wind, I've got to keep the rudder turned.
To port.
Right. In other words, the ship is carrying 5 degrees of port wheel. Remember that. If for any reason at all the ship has a tendency to swing to port or starboard with the rudder amidships, and it's necessary to keep the rudder turned, say as now, 5 degrees to port, to steer a straight course, the ship is...
Carrying 5 degrees of port wheel.
Good. So 5 degrees of port wheel and not amidships is in this case the position to put the wheel in to keep the ship on her course.
Now then, let's try and make use of some of the tips we've had, and while we're about it, maybe pick up a few more. The sea is calm and the wind has dropped. Ready? Right. He's not doing so badly, is he? Notice that only slight movements of the wheel are necessary to keep the ship steady.
Where's your rudder?
Midships.
What's your course?
Due north.
What's that in degrees?
360 degrees.
That's right. What course is that?
The course ordered.
Right.
How long do I keep her on that course?
Until the order is changed. The last order always holds good until you get a new one, and don't forget that. And you take orders from no one but the bridge.
The officer of the watch now wishes to turn the ship sharply to the left, that is, to port, to a course due west or 270 degrees. Let's watch how this is done. Because he wants to make a sharp turn, the officer orders the maximum amount of rudder used normally, that is, 30 degrees.
Port 30.
Oh, go on.
What's the matter down there? Are you dead or asleep?
Let him know you've heard.
Port 30!
Port 30, sir.
There's your indicator. Now, what have you done? You've put 30 degrees of port wheel on, haven't you?
Yes.
And let him know what you've done.
30 degrees of port wheel on, sir.
East of 15.
East of 15.
And that leaves you with?
15 degrees of port wheel on, sir.
Good. You know why the officer of the watch ordered you to ease to 15, don't you?
Do you know why? You ought to. It stands to reason. You see, once you've altered the position of the rudder and the ship has started swinging around, the large amount of rudder you put on her to start with becomes unnecessary because the momentum of the ship will carry her around. So much so that as the ship's head nears the new course, the rudder can be put to amidships.
Midships.
Midships. Wheels amidships, sir.
But if she were left like this, the ship's momentum would carry her past the new course of 270 degrees, and so opposite rudder is applied before she reaches this course to check the swing.
Starboard 10.
Starboard 10, sir. 10 of starboard wheel on, sir.
That's right. That's the idea. You might get an order from the bridge to meet her.
Meet her?
Yes, to meet her. This means to put on opposite wheel to stop the ship from swinging. Now then, as soon as the ship's head is on the new course, you'll get the order, steady. The minute you get the order, you read off the compass at the larboard point. Then report what is showing to the officer of the watch. Then you've got to take whatever action is needed with the wheel to settle the ship on that course. Have you got that?
Yes, I think so.
Then wait for it.
Steady.
Steady, sir. Course 270.
Get on that. Now report it.
Course 270 degrees, sir.
Very good.
Always confirm the new course when you've steadied the ship so that the officer can check it with his compass up top.
Should a small correction or alteration of course be necessary, the officer of the watch might make a change in the following way. Do not forget that our course is now 270 degrees.
Steer 2 degrees to starboard.
Steer 2 degrees to starboard. Course 272, sir.
You're getting on all right.
It certainly was one up to Parsons. We were steering 270 degrees, remember. 2 degrees to starboard of this is 272. Parsons used his own judgment as to the amount of wheel necessary and steadied the ship on the new course of 272 degrees. Now, the orders we've had from the bridge so far have been rudder orders. Port 30, ease to 15, starboard 10, and so on. But the officer of the watch may pass down the actual course to be steered. At present, we are on a course of 272, aren't we? Let's say the officer has to make a change of 5 degrees to starboard, so making our course 277. It's quite likely he may send down the order,
Steer 277.
Steer 277. Course 277, sir. I've got the hang of that all right.
That's all right. You're getting on fine.
now the course we have been ordered is 360 degrees.
Hey, what's your course? Where's your ship's head now? Hey, what are you doing?
Well, I've let the course go to port of the Lover's Point, so I'm putting on starboard wheel to bring it back.
You can't let the course go anywhere. It's a fixed thing. What you've done is to let the ship's head, which is indicated for you by the lubber's line, get to starboard of the course you were told to steer. Now, what do you do to get it back?
Oh, I see.
What you were doing is called chasing the lubber's line, and every cocksure young beginner makes the same mistake. Just you bear in mind these two things. You can't control the compass card, the compass does that, but you can control the lubber's line because it's the pointer showing where the ship is steering. So you must always bring the lubber's line to the course and not try to bring the course to the lubber's line. Don't let me catch you making that silly mistake again.
Yes, Parsons certainly has the makings of a good helmsman, if he remembers all he's been told. One important thing is, the last order remains in force until another order is given. The captain of this ship ordered 30 degrees of port and has not yet countermanded the order. Remember, he knows what he's doing. And if you at the wheel think you know better and alter course without his instructions, you're heading for a bottle. Here is another rule. Sometimes the order nothing to port or nothing to starboard is given. This means that the helmsman must not let the ship's head swing over to the port side or the starboard, as the case may be, owing to some danger on that side of the ship, or because the helmsman has shown a tendency to keep that way more than the other. This order, like all others, remains in force until a fresh order is given. On either side of the wheel are the engine room telegraphs, one for each engine, which pass instructions, full, half, slow, ahead or astern, down to the engine room. And on the starboard engine room telegraph is the engine revolution telegraph, which tells the engine room the actual revolutions to be used when half speed is showing on the telegraph. The revolution telegraph is disregarded when full or slow is showing. Full being as many revolutions as the boilers in use permit, slow, a fixed rate arranged between the captain and the engineer officer. The speed of the ship is determined by the speed at which the engines are revolving, engines in the plural, because most ships have two or more with a corresponding number of propellers. Once the ship has got under way, her speed is regulated from the bridge. The captain gives orders for the number of revolutions per minute which will produce the speed he requires. These orders are given through the voice pipe to the wheelhouse. The telegraph men, by means of the engine room telegraphs, pass the orders down to the engine room, where their receipt is acknowledged by a reply gong, and their acknowledgement reported by the helmsman back to the bridge. Let's have a closer look at the engine room telegraph. There are 3 ahead positions and 3 astern positions. You will see that the telegraph is marked for each of them: slow ahead, half speed ahead and full speed ahead, slow astern, half speed astern, and full speed astern. Here is stop in the middle. Generally speaking, slow means as slow as the engines can be properly run, and full speed as fast as possible. The maximum revolutions that can be reached with the boilers alight at the time. Full speed, however, except in war, is very rarely used. Only in an emergency or at full speed trials. All other speeds in between slow and full are ordered by setting the telegraph to half speed and turning the revolution telegraph to the number of revolutions required. The implication of half speed is not half full speed, but the number of revolutions showing on the revolution telegraph. The revolution telegraph is not obeyed except when the engine room telegraphs are showing half speed. Sometimes when getting underway or maneuvering, the engine room telegraphs may be used without any revolutions being set on the revolution telegraph. In this case, the engines conform to a rate of revolutions which have been arranged between the captain and the engineer officer. Most of His Majesty's ships have 2 or more propellers, each normally turning outwards when going ahead. Now perhaps you see why a different telegraph is necessary for each engine. It is because sometimes they have different work to do at the same moment. Maneuvering in harbour, for instance, the ship can be turned round almost as though she were on a pivot by having one propeller pushing her forward and the other pulling her astern. Now let's see how the ship's engines are used and how the orders affect the helmsman.
What's the first thing we do before getting the anchor up? I'll give you a lead. You saw that engine room artificer come up here testing the steering wheel and telegraphs, didn't you?
Yes.
The engine room didn't answer them.
No.
Well, what do?
Warn them.
That's right. Warn the engine room that the testing is over and that from now on all telegraphs must be obeyed. We shall get this order from the bridge.
I see. May I take the wheel now?
What do you think we got special sea duty men for? Entering or leaving harbour, you've got to have men who know their jobs thoroughly. Even I shouldn't be at the wheel now. It's the coxswain's job to steer when leaving harbour or if the ship goes into action. But as he's sick, I'm taking his place, see?
You can see from the destroyer's position in the harbour that it's necessary for her to turn round to port before she can proceed to sea. There's not a great deal of room for her to do it in, is there? Well, let's see how it's done.
Port 30.
Port 30. 30 a port wheel on, sir.
Slow ahead starboard, lower stern port.
Slow ahead starboard, slow stern port. Starboard engine going slow ahead. Port engine going slow astern, sir.
The captain's making use of the port engine to pull the ship, while the starboard engine pushes. This shows you the effect on the ship of the 2 propellers working in opposite directions. With the port propeller pulling back and the starboard one pushing forward, the ship begins to turn round to port without appreciably moving forward. Now that sufficient turn has been made, both propellers will be put ahead and the course set for the harbour entrance.
Stop port.
Stop port, sir. Port engine stop, sir.
Slow ahead port.
Slow ahead port, sir.
Steer 110.
Steer 110. Both engines going slow ahead, sir.
In ordering steer 110, the captain gave a course order. His previous order, port 20, was a wheel order.
Course 110, sir.
Half speed ahead both. 100 revolutions.
Half speed ahead both, 100 revolutions. Both engines going half speed ahead, 100 revolutions on, sir.
Now that half speed ahead has been ordered, the ship's speed is entirely controlled by the number of engine revolutions ordered. Should it be necessary, however, to check speed as the ship leaves harbour, the captain might order slow both for a few seconds and then return to half speed ahead both.
Slow both,
Slow both, sir. Both engines going slow ahead, sir.
Half ahead, both.
Half ahead both, sir. Both engines going half speed ahead, sir.
In this case, it won't be necessary to alter the revolutions set on the telegraph, as on the order half speed ahead both being given, once more the engines would automatically be set to the number of revolutions in force, and still showing on the revolution telegraph before the order slow was given. In this case, 100 revolutions.
Hey, the old man's forgotten to order the engine revolutions.
The old man?
Sorry, I mean the captain's forgotten to...
The captain's forgotten more than you'll ever learn. Hasn't it pierced your skull yet that the number of revolutions ordered remain on the revolution telegraph until you are given orders to change them? If the engine telegraphs are now moved to, say, slow, the engine room disregards the revolution telegraph and decreases the revolutions which have been agreed on for slow. Then, when the engine telegraphs are again moved to half, they again obey the revolution telegraph, which will still be showing the same revolutions as before, unless the captain has ordered a change in the meantime. Now then, what revolutions did the captain call for when he first ordered half speed ahead?
100.
And what was the next order?
Slow both.
Any change in the revolutions?
No.
And the next order?
Half speed ahead again.
And the revolutions still ordered on the indicator?
100.
Then 100 it is.
Thank you.
Forgotten me grandmother.
In small ships, slight alterations of speed may be ordered in the form up 2 turns or down 1 turn. This applies to the revolutions indicator. You saw the telegraph man turning the handle when the captain gave the order for 100 revolutions. Up 2 turns means that the handle must be turned right twice in the direction for increasing speed, like this. Similarly, down 1 turn means that the handle is to be turned round once in the direction for decreasing speed. Each turn of the handle in destroyers corresponds to 3 revolutions per minute of engine speed. So the order down 1 turn means decrease 3 revolutions, and the order up 2 turns means increase speed by 6 revolutions. In large ships, however, an order for the exact number of engine revolutions required will always be given.
Afternoon watchman to master.
Here's our relief. On being relieved, always make sure that your relief understands all the orders that are in force at the time. Course 270, half speed ahead both, 160 revolutions. Now what have I forgotten?
There have been a few changes in the orders since the ship cleared harbour, so let's have a quick look at the various indicators. See if you recognize them, and if you can pass the orders on to the relief. Well, what has he forgotten?
Oh, carrying 5 degrees of port wheel.
That's right. Come on.
To be able to steer efficiently and well is one of the most important duties of a seaman. This art can only be acquired by constant practice and careful attention to details. Be alert, be accurate, obey the orders from the bridge immediately and exactly.